But if you visit the parks, remember, you still have to maintain your social distance. So as we learned the other day on our program, that's 30 spade-foot toads between you and anyone else you encounter within the parks. If you can't maintain that, if you're passing people on a trail or a path, make sure that you cover your face. This is really important. This protects you and the people that are around you. So continue to visit the parks. We don't allow picnicking at tables right now. The reason is we can't clean the picnic tables, but if you bring a blanket and have your picnic, that's okay. We really can't have people, though, going into our building facilities and things like that because we can't clean them properly right now. We're working on that. We're going to be able to get all of those things cleaned at some point. But for now, just visit the parks, do your hiking. You can sit on the beach. Maybe not such a good beach day today. There's supposed to be some storms rolling through, but right now, it's absolutely beautiful here at Hammonasset. The sun is out. It's amazing. I want to remind everybody, too, the Great Park Pursuit is starting, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking at probably tomorrow we'll do a Great Park Pursuit, or Great Backyard. I said it. See that? The Great Backyard Pursuit starts, and I will probably be doing a few of the events from the Great Backyard Pursuit. So I'm kind of excited to see what they have in store for us for the Great Backyard Pursuit because I haven't seen all of the events. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, people are already doing it, so please continue to put up your comments and questions and put up where you're from. So we've got Cheshire and Madison already here. We'll probably get more people as we go, but I'm really happy to see those thumbs up and the hearts and smiley faces too. So anytime you want to make a comment, you can do that. We do have a virtual learning center here at the Nature Center. So if you go to megspointnaturecenter.org, you can see all of our past programs because we did a program on this guy right here. That's the striped bass. How cool is that fish? Now really look at the size of that thing. And that's a small one, all right? They get really large. The fish that we're going to talk about today lives in this tank, but I can't see him. You probably can't either. They bury themselves in the sand. Now, we already did a program on the flounder. Can you see right there? There are actually two flounder laying on top of one another. There's the eyes and the body of one, and then the eyes of the other one right underneath. They almost never lay on top of each other, but today they're doing it, which is really cool. The other fish that we're going to talk about, though, also buries itself. Now, we don't know a lot about this fish. The books that I use to learn about fish in Long Island Sound don't even list it as a species in Long Island Sound. So when I first got one, a fisherman caught it in a trawl, which happens, it's called a bycatch. When fishermen are trying to catch things, sometimes they catch something that they don't want, and that's a bycatch. So they caught this fish, and they actually brought me a couple of them because there's one in this tank, and I have one here to look at. This is the Stargazer. Now, take a look at this fish. We'll move the camera so you can see. All right, hopefully you can see this guy. This fish is really amazing. They live in deep water. All right, so they're going to be in the deepest parts of Long Island Sound. 50 feet to 1,300 feet is typically where they have these. Now, there are 51 species of these all over the world. All right, so this particular species is the one that we have in Long Island Sound. But because there's not a lot of information about it, I'm going to be talking a little bit in general about most of the stargazers around the world. So they live at the bottom. They bury themselves in soft sand like you see in the tank behind us here. And soft sand or mud, they have, if you can see, its upturned mouth. Can you see it's sort of got that up-facing mouth and its eyes are on top of its head. It buries its whole body down, and then it'll just have its head and its mouth sticking up out of the water. Now look at the stripes on its fins. It's got some great stripes on the tail and the fins, and he's not flared up right now, so you can't really see that. But if he moves around, you'll get to see him show his stripes. Now you can see he's got a little yellow on his chin. Okay? So these fish are nocturnal predators. So the name Stargazer really fits. They're on the bottom. During the day, they bury themselves completely. And then at night, they're looking up at the stars. So that's why they call them stargazers. They will eat small fish and crustaceans. So crabs, small lobsters, and tiny fish that are living out there with them. That's their main food. Only one thing that we know of, there's only one animal that eats a stargazer. How cool is that? They don't have very many predators, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. The one thing that we know that eats them? Bottlenose dolphins. Now, bottlenose dolphins are super smart, and you have to be to eat this fish. Look at those fins, look at those stripes. Okay, so the reason that it's so rare for an animal to eat these fish is they are venomous. They have spines. Behind and above the gill is a spine. There's one on each side. They're called the calythral spine. Okay? And that spine has a venom. You can eat the fish. The venom is fine if you eat it. But if it stabs you with the spine, then you're going to have an effect. For people, we're going to get some swelling, and we could go into shock, okay? But for other animals, it could be worse. So a lot of animals really avoid trying to eat the stargazer. They don't live very long. They live about 5 years, and they only get about 10 inches long. So this one will get a little bit bigger. The one that we have in the tank that's buried completely is 10 inches. So it's maxed out probably for its size. This one will get a little bit larger. In the winter, they migrate out into the deeper waters. I'm sorry, not the winter. For spawning, when it's time for them to lay their eggs, they migrate out into deeper waters. So that's usually March to September. And right now we're in the height of their spawning season. So May is the peak of when they're going to be spawning out there. Now, they've got that calythral spine that is venomous, but they also are electric. They can produce an electric charge. Now, I couldn't find out how many volts or watts or whatever are produced by that charge, but I know fishermen that have been electrified by them say that it will straighten your arms out and knocks you back a little bit when they give you a zap. So it's really amazing. This fish is venomous and electric. Also, it's the only electric fish that doesn't have electrosensing organs. Most fish that produce, all the other fish that produce an electric charge also have an organ that they can sense and detect electromagnetic fields. So really amazing. This guy doesn't have that, and we don't even know why he doesn't have it. Or this one doesn't have it. Now, the reason I'm not reaching into the tank and moving him around is because of those spines and the electric charge. So I don't want to get zapped or stabbed by this fish. Let's see if we can move it in a little bit and get a closer look at him. This one, I shouldn't say him. I'm assuming that it's a male because of the bright yellow on the chin, but I'm not able to say that for sure. So, all right. Do we have any questions? Morning to Brantford. Oh, Vermont is watching. Very cool. Wonder what the weather up is in Vermont today. You guys getting storms too? Looks like we've got a fog bank rolling in right here at Hammonasset. So, these fish are really spectacular. They're going to, spend most of their time buried down in the sand. They will come into Long Island Sound is only around 90 to 60 feet deep. So we're not really the deepest that you're going to find these fish. Probably why we don't get a lot of them found in the Sound. Have you seen the fish give off an electric charge? You know what? I don't know that I have. We pick them up with nets and move them around occasionally. I did have to move it into this. I don't know that I would be able to tell if it produced an electric charge. If there were a noise associated with it, I think I would have detected that. But if it's a silent, just a charge, I don't know that I would be able to tell. How do they produce the charge? They actually have a modified, it was described as almost like a visual organ behind their eye that produces the charge. And I don't see anything on the top of their head that says where that charge is coming from. Hey, Chuck is watching. Hello, Chuck. Chuck helps us out here at the Nature Center with our snakes. He loves snakes, knows lots about them, and if I ever have a question, he's the person I call to ask questions about snakes. I'm not really the expert in any of these fields. I just know all the experts, and I can call on them to help us out. All right, do we have any other? Vermont is saying it's nice so far, but 100% chance of rain later. The big fish in Lake Champlain, Champ. So this fish is saltwater only. We don't see them in freshwater. And I mentioned that they are venomous, but there is one species of them. There's a Japanese species of stargazers that do not have that venomous spine. They have the spine, but it doesn't have venom. So I found that fascinating, that all the species in the world, maybe there are others that we don't know about, because we don't know a lot about stargazers that don't produce that venom. If you guys think about it, if you imagine this fish is buried in the sand, in deep water, there aren't a lot of things that are going to be down at that deep water. They have great defense. First of all, they're buried and you can't see them very well. Secondly, they've got that venomous spine, which is going to hurt like a son of a gun if it stings you. They produce an electric charge, which is going to keep anything from trying to eat them. This fish is just built for defense. It has a small mouth. You can see the mouth is upturned there. It has lots of small teeth in that mouth. But there are so many things that this fish can do to protect itself. That's the part that really fascinates me. All right, let's do this. I'm going to move the camera, see if we can give you guys a view from the top. So you can see this is what it would look like. Imagine that whole body buried in sand, just the eyes sticking up through the top. I'm really surprised nobody has suggested that I reach in the tank and see if I get stung or zapped. So I think I'm curious about it, but I don't want to do it. I thought maybe somebody would suggest it. All right. Do we have any other questions about this amazing fish? Oh, somebody's saying that they've washed up on shore. So I did read that these are a delicacy. In some parts of the world, these are a delicacy. And they do have to remove the electric organ before you eat them. So apparently that electric organ holds a charge afterward. The venomous spine, the venom is going to be effective after the fish dies. So you do not want to step on these fish if they wash up into the shallows, if they die. So another fish these are not related to, but it's another venomous fish, a rockfish. And they have a similar look to them, but rockfish are also venomous. And they're much more in the shallows, so you do have to watch where you step in those. We don't have rockfish here, though. Bryson is 6. Is this Bryson's 6th birthday today? Or did Bryson ask a question? If it's your birthday, Bryson, happy birthday. All right, I really love looking at this fish. I hope you guys have enjoyed this program. We do these programs every Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. The morning ones are usually my favorite animal, and I have lots of fun things that I do in the afternoons. Yesterday, I visited Gillette Castle State Park. I know we had a little transmission issue with that. We might be recording these in the future just so that we don't get that breakup of the program. This afternoon at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a Native American story. I'm doing my all-time favorite Native American story, so I've been holding off on that one for a little while, but now we're going to do that story. All right. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning. Continue to follow us, like us on Facebook and on YouTube. If you go to Meg's Point Nature Center on YouTube, you can see all of these videos archived. We also have a new addition to the website. If you go to the About Us section, you'll see postings of recently seen animals in the park, especially the rare ones. We're going to try and get those up, but we're also going to try and put up some animals for you to identify. So if you go in there, you can look at a picture, see a little description, and see if you can figure out what the plant or animal, we're going to do sightings of plants and animals, you can see what it is. So I'm really excited to be adding new things to our virtual learning center, well, to the website in general, because we're adding other things across the board on the website. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you this afternoon at 2 o'clock.